Okay, so like here I am, August the 5th. I guess it's about 5 o'clock. I'm sitting here on the porch. On the porch. So I wanted to discuss like a continuation, and not really. I didn't finish with Rob because later I had gone back to later that morning I had gone back to study some more about Ra and where he come from, and to discuss uh, this, you can call it energy. They said that the sun was Ra, the soul of Ra, that the sun was the soul of Ra. I don't really know what that means. I kind of, the soul of Ra means something deep to me. The soul of a person, the sun, considered the sun god Ra, the Ba. The Ba is the soul, Ba, the Ba. Okay, it's way so beautifully said in the teachings and the writings of Egyptian mythology and the story of Ra. Not only that, so I had gone further back to see where Ra had come from. Like, where now there is a place. I have to go back and study it again on the history of Ra, where exactly where he had come from, what part of Africa. It was a poet that he had actually come from. I guess where the sun first appeared, the first sunlight, you want to call it. So we'll discuss about the first sunlight when I go back to study the story of Ra. I just wanted to just share today bits and pieces, going back and just on bits and pieces of Ra. Uh, so I wanted to say, no, we have Ra. So the question was like, where did he come from? According to the mythology, that Ra, uh, the sun, come from this, I suppose, this Ben Ben, called the Ben Ben. And that was a bird, the heron. The heron was this bird, supposedly landed, it was home to the heron birds. The Ben Ben was an island, a city, bird city, uh, that uh, the herons lived, dwelled. Scientists had discovered 5,000 years ago there were such birds in the Red Sea or around the Red Sea in the Persian Gulf. 5,000 years ago, archaeologists would agree and have said that heron birds had lived some 5,000 years ago. Uh, so, but the Egyptians used the bird as a sacred bird to Ra. I think Ra used it as one of his sacred birds. The bird, the Ben Ben, was the heron. In the Egyptian theology, it shaped a certain way. If you Google it or something like that, you will see the Ben Ben bird, or the Greeks call it the phoenix, which is something I have not read into. I read it, but I have to go back and reread about the phoenix. I guess they was comparing that to Herodotus, was because it was some of his writings. It was Herodotus that said that the people told him about Ra. So oh, it's deep. It's so beyond deep. But so we looking at Ra coming, I suppose, from this Ben Ben, the heron. I say the goose laid the golden egg. We would say in fairy tales, and then when a woman is still having a baby, we would say, well, the kids would ask where the baby come from, and the parent would say the stork, brought the baby. So maybe there's a connection there in fairy tales, stories, and so that's what it's saying. That this mountain was the Ben Ben, that it came from this pre-mortal water. And in fact, not only does it say that, but it also say that uh, uh, about divinity. But it was the first creature. That it was the first creature. That the heron was the first creature in the world. This is Egyptian. pertaining to Ra anthology. So it goes deeper. It goes deeper than I guess than we know. So I just wanted to kind of go back a little bit and uh, pertaining to Ra and the history of Ra. Because like now I'm sitting out on the porch. Some say, some historians say that, and scholars and all the other smart people that know this, they say there's 5 settings of the sun. I don't know if there's 5 settings of the sun, but I do know that God speak of man Kappa Ra, which means Capra is the scarab beetle, which means the sun come up at dawn. The dawn of a new day, the expression. Dawn, me, I had to get the terms, the definition of dawn. If you go and search for the definition of dawn, you will find uh, it's a lot of words behind that one word. The opening, something new, beginning, and all that. So that's the dawn. We're talking about Capra. And then at noon we have Ra, which is the sun is at this highest point at 12. We say high noon, all this 12 o'clock, or it was always in that way. And fairy tales and stuff of that such nature. And then we have Atum, which is the evening. I guess when the sun is about to set, but then it's the evening. So I guess after past 1 o'clock, we are looking at Atum. And then the sun goes out, or I don't know where it goes. Some say it goes not down, but goes out, like further from the earth. I don't know. But then I know it comes back around, it comes up in the east again. Egyptians believe that, well, they teach us that the sun, Atum, going into the underworld. That the sun actually is going somewhere else in the underworld. And then it comes back, uh, back in the east. So I'm gonna get further into that because in that it's dealing with when the sun came up between these sycamore trees. So I will go again to study where it happens when the sun set. We call it set. But also, then we're gonna get further. I would like to go further and further with the other gods. I have to extend it way further because I'm gonna cut it off with Ra because that was really the title, just to get the introduction. But then we will have to further go to who created the other gods and what was their purpose, and what what was their purpose, what role did they play uh, in our creation, So we'll get back to gods like Atum, of course, Ptah. I love Ptah and his image. I think it was his image I loved the most. He was this tall statue, muscular built. And I guess it's like, in my mind, me being a Christian all my life, following Jesus and the pictures of Jesus. But when I saw a black man or a man of iron, whatever color, like it could have been, whatever texture the statue was, but it was a dark image. I'm assuming in my mind that it was a black man in my mind because the image was a dark image. I mean, the statue itself. So he was real big, and he held these different type of symbols and stuff, and I found it so fascinating that this man possibly could have been God, and I looked and I was smashed, oh my God. So, Ptah is supposed to be the creator. See, so supposed to be the creator, the one who spoke everything into existence with magic, with his words. But then you had Atum, so I kind of confused, like who was it, Atum or was it Ptah? Was it Atum? You know, so uh, but all dwell in the northern delta of Egypt. They in northern Egypt. I'm believing it was lower and upper Egypt. Uh, Atum was in the northern delta. They had the southern delta, northern delta, stuff like that. Paul, what are you doing? Trying to phone ringing out the hooks. So then we're gonna get into Atum. We're gonna get into Shu, into Tefnut, We're gonna get into Ged and Nut. We're gonna get into Khonsu, who was one of the moon gods. Khonsu, Khonsu. He was the his parents were Atum, I believe. Atum, I can remember his mother, but who gave birth to the moon. Name was Akak Ansu. I think he was like keeping the time, traveling the journeys, and it's a difference. It's huge stuff. This is huge. This idea, this mythology, this belief that the Egyptians lived by, died by, and I would say maybe still living uh, that life. So I just wanted to come back today to finish with Ra. Of course, and go back on the topics that I need to come back to in the history of Ra. I want to come back to the topics I was sharing earlier. I forgot right now because I didn't say it so much. But anyway, I hope to get back soon and with you guys. And this is like a uh, session, session two, session two. So I hope you guys, give me some feedback. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sitting here now, we got the sun out, at the trees, you know what I'm saying? We breathing, shoe. We breathing, shoe. Right, the hidden God. We can't see it. We can feel it. We can feel it. Right? You can see the wind. You can feel the wind, but you can't see it. You can't you can feel it on your body. You can say I'm cold. You feel the breeze, but you can't see it. And that's what's Atum, the hidden one. But then they name it Atum Ra, which means the hidden in it, an invisible God is what they saying. The teachings of Egyptian mythology. So I hope you enjoyed this second session, and we're gonna drag it out until I feel like I'm done with the first session. And just I don't know how far we'll go with Atum, but we will get into Shu and Tefnut, who Tefnut represent space and time, and represent a lot of things. Tefnut. I had written a poem concerning all the gods and the goddesses. But anyway, we'll get to Tefnut, we'll get to Khonsu, and we'll get to a whole lot of stuff. We'll get to Egyptians believe like that we was teachers. That's in a way that we was also born on a what you call that wheel. I'm talking about that wheel that that we was made out of clay on this wheel. But Potter's wheel maybe. I think it might be the Potter wheel. But that's another subject. Hopefully we'll get to it. Hopefully we'll get to all the subjects and hope to get some feedback. Right? Because like right now we're on the porch. I have all of this, but then if I didn't have the breath of life, and then I would not exist. If I had water, I would not exist. Sunlight, I guess I wouldn't exist. I mean, the day, the night, you turn into the darkness, the void. It all comes with it. It's all together. The spiritual stuff is it's all together. You know what I'm saying? And the sky, we got the earth. When this big old rock that someone put us here, and they say it was Ra. Some say Ptah. Some say Anun or Atum.
Hey man,
So we'll get with it. All right then. Peace and love.
Hey man.